Hey, what's going on? Thanks for stopping back by this channel. I'm Kix. This is Kix React. Now, today we're doing a little different thing here. Are you somebody who's left the Democrat Party, or maybe you're just kind of looking at the Republican Party, not quite sure what to think of it, or where you would even fit in because of some of your political beliefs? That's what this video is for. I want to talk about the 8 factions of the Republican Party, what they believe in, what they stand for, what they hold true, and that way you can determine where you fit in when it comes to the Republican Party. Now, just for starters, there are going to be 2 lists. There's going to say a for and an against. The against are all pretty much going to be the same because it's the core of the Republican Party. They're against certain things. Um, Although there are a few factions who have different things that they put on their list, and I'll touch on those. But without further ado, let's jump into this modern factions of the Republican Party. You have the conservatives, the social conservatives, the libertarians, the neoconservatives, the moderates, the liberals, the Trumpists, and the anti-Trumpers. 8 different factions, all making one party, all of them holding certain things to a higher standard in their political beliefs than other things, and they all try to make it work. So let's go. Where do we all land when it comes to the Republican Party? Let's talk about the conservatives first, right? So the conservatives first, they're like that main core, the Freedom Caucus, Republican Study Committee, Heritage Foundation guys. You have the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. They are a few politicians who fall under this conservative faction. So, what is it about them? What do they believe? They want less government spending, less government regulations on the economy, privatization or changes to Social Security, increased military spending, and they believe in the Second Amendment right. And again, like I said, the against is a basic, just Republican standpoint. So we're gonna go on from there to the social conservative. This is the Christian right, as they call themselves. This group, they like to take their Christian beliefs and practices and try to mold them into the laws and the policies that they try to pass. You have people like former President Mike Pence, former Senator Rick Santorum, former Governor Mike Huckabee in this group. So what is it that they hold as like the high standard of their faction? The Second Amendment rights and the NRA. They believe in the rest of the stuff the Republicans believe in, but those are the 2 things that they really are they hold dear to them. And again, it's the same on the against as the latter. Next, we have the libertarians. The libertarians are the Republican Liberty Caucus, or better known as the Tea Party movement. You got guys like Senator Mike Lee, Senator Rand Paul, and Representative Tom Massey. Now, these guys, this faction, they're all about their top priorities are cutting taxes, Second Amendment, and privacy for American citizens. Wait, privacy for American citizens? I haven't said that before. What's that about, right? Is that what you're asking yourself? Well, here you go. They are against the Affordable Care Act, which is universal health care, but are also against the U.S. Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was a law or a policy that was put into place that allows the government to do surveillance on public citizens. That's not okay. And the libertarians say, no, we don't agree with that. The government should not be using our cell phones and our ring cams and our Google search to figure out what we're doing. So that's what they mean by the privacy of American citizens. So they fight for that real strong. The next group that we have would be the neocons or neoconservatives. Okay, so these guys, they used to be Democrats. They were middle of the road Democrats until the 80s, and then they filtered over into the Republican Party. I like to call them the war machine of the Republican Party. The reason I say that, well, we'll get into that in a minute. You got former President George Bush, former VP Dick Cheney, and former securities advisor John Bolton in this group. Now, some of them were Republicans, but when the Democrats came over, they hopped right on board. Here's what the neoconservatives are all about. They are for interventionist policies. What does that mean? That means they want to use our military to defend democracy abroad. They're the ones that get us into those wars that never end. Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia. That's this faction of the Republican Party. They believe in peace through strength, meaning the stronger our military, the less people are going to act up in the world because they don't want us to come after them. So they also are really on high military spending. That is the neocon, right? I'm sure you heard those in the debate. Vivek said something about the neocons and the never-ending wars and the war in Ukraine. This is the group that he was talking about. Okay, so moving on, the next group is the moderates. Now, this is where the Republican Party has a small divide or a large divide, depending on how you see it. The moderates are the fiscal conservatives or uh, the social liberals. They come from blue states or swing states generally. You got people like Senator Susan Collins, Senator Lisa Murkowski, and Governor Joe Lombardo. Like I said, remember, they come from blue states, so they're going to tend to have some blue policy ideas. And here we go. The moderates in the Republican Party are for more LGBT rights, same sex marriage, gun control laws, abortion rights, affirmative action, more environmental regulations, i.e., climate change and things like that. And they are against immigration restrictions, less gun regulations, and anti abortion policy. Now, that's quite different from the last few factions that we looked at, correct? Now, let's jump to the next one, the liberal conservatives. This is a very small faction in the Republican Party, and it's made up of younger politicians or even celebrities. People like Governor Phil Scott, former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, former Governor Charlie Baker. These guys are the liberal conservatives. Now, here's the thing. They believe in everything that the moderates do to a T. They lockstep with them to a T, except for one point, and that is that the liberal conservatives are for recreational use of marijuana. That is the only thing that separates them from the moderates. Okay? They want to be able to have recreational use of marijuana. Fine. But again, they're the exact same as the moderates, everything else. The next, we have the Trumpists or the MAGA group. Those are people like Representative Lauren Boebert, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Representative Matt Gaetz. Now, this is probably the most well-known group, besides like the standard conservatives or maybe the neocons, in my opinion. Everybody's heard of MAGA. Everybody's about MAGA this, MAGA that, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And for them, their policies are directly in lockstep with Trump. Anything that Trump's for, they're for. If Trump's against it, they're against it. There's no division in that. America First policies, border wall, decreased immigration, economic policies, against open borders, and against increased gun laws and abortion rights. You see what I'm saying? It's a Trump first faction. But just like anything, if there's a one side of a coin, there is another, and that leads us to the last faction in the Republican Party, the anti-Trumpers or the Never Trump movement. You got Senators Mitt Romney, former Representative Liz Cheney, and former Governor Chris Christie, who you saw on the debate stage. This is the reason that Vivek Ramaswamy told him that his campaign would do better if he didn't attack just one man. And that is because Chris Christie is a never Trumper. He is an anti-Trump, never Trump faction member. They are for lower taxes, smaller government, free trade. They're against gun laws, abortion laws, but at the top of their list, they are against Trump. So there you go. That is the 8 factions that make up the current Republican Party, where do you land? Is there a faction that you say, "Oh, I fit right into that group"? Maybe there isn't. Maybe maybe you are bits and pieces of a lot of these factions, which could be the case. But at least now you have a general idea of what each faction represents within the Republican Party. You can figure out from there what policies or people that promote certain policies best serve you. But I'm curious. Let me know in the comments what faction you think you fall under. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe, maybe give me a share. And if you do subscribe, go into the comments and let me know that you subscribed, and I'll get right back in touch with you to thank you personally. I hope this video helped. Let me know. I'm Kix, and I'll talk to you next time.